Welcome to GO-CALC, the Greenhouse Gas Ontario Covered Agriculture Calculator. This program is designed to help agricultural producers who have indoor agricultural production facilities and grain dryers examine ways of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. By answering simple questions about your facility, this tool will determine your energy use and greenhouse gas emissions, and will estimate the reduction in emissions by making improvements to your facility. Possible upgrades include installing new or upgraded energy curtains or improving permanent cover materials for greenhouses, upgrading boilers or heating systems in buildings and greenhouses, installing heat reclamation on existing grain dryers, and installing ventilation heat exchangers in livestock barns. This tutorial will show you how to use GO-CALC to estimate emissions reductions by upgrading your agricultural facilities. These estimates can then be used to apply for cost share funding for these upgrades in the new Growing Forward 2 Indoor Agricultural Facilities project category. When you first open the calculator, this landing page appears with a brief introductory message. There are also two buttons, Get Started and Log In. If this is your first time using the calculator, choose Get Started. Enter your email address and choose a password. We need you to create an account so we can save your work. We need your email address so we can send you a record of your password, and we will also email you the results of your calculations. Once you register, you can log into the tool using the email address and password you provided. Now that you are registered, you can start to make a calculation. We call the calculations scenarios. To start creating a scenario, click the New Scenario option at the top of the screen. When you start a new scenario, the first step is to give it a unique name. This lets you save your work. After this, you will be asked a series of questions about your facility. In GO-CALC, any question with a red asterisk beside it is a mandatory question. All the mandatory questions must be filled out to complete the calculation. Some questions will ask you to select an option from a list. These options correspond to pre-programmed values in the calculator. If your option is not listed, there may be an Other option. If you select Other, you will be asked to enter additional information such as the insulation level or equipment efficiency corresponding to that question. It is important to enter this information accurately. You can often find this information by contacting the product manufacturer. It is also important to understand this calculator is designed to be used for only one building at a time. If you are trying to calculate savings for multiple buildings, please create a separate scenario for each building. To start off, identify the location of your facility. Choose the location from the list that is closest to your facility, even if the distance between that location and your facility is large. Now enter the annual production from your facility and choose the type of production. This information is used to benchmark your energy efficiency compared to your production information. You will need your monthly fuel bills to fill out the next portion of GO-CALC. If you don't have them handy, press the Save button at the top to save your work. You can come back later to complete the calculation. You must choose one fuel type, and you may choose up to 3 different fuel types. Select the type of fuel from the drop-down box and enter your billed fuel usage for the last 12 months in the boxes provided. The units of fuel usage are listed in the fuel type drop-down box. If you receive more or less than one fuel bill per month, visit the Help page for a detailed explanation of what to do. If you have multiple buildings connected to the same fuel meter, it is important to estimate how much fuel is used in this particular building, compared to the total amount of fuel on your bill. If every building connected to your fuel meter is similar, take the floor area for this particular building and divide by the total floor area of all the buildings connected to the fuel meter. This will be a good estimate of the percentage of fuel used in this building. If your buildings are not similar, you may need the help of an experienced consultant or engineer to estimate the percentage of fuel used. If you do enter an incorrect percentage, your baseline energy usage will not be calculated correctly. However, it will not affect the savings estimates produced by GO-CALC. Next, you need to tell GO-CALC what type of facility you have. There are 3 choices: greenhouse, building, and grain dryer. Depending which you choose, you will be asked certain questions about your facility. Let's choose greenhouse. When you choose greenhouse, you are first asked to enter the dimensions of the greenhouse. as well as the compass direction of the longest wall of your building. If you have questions about any of these dimensions, visit the help page for more information and diagrams. Next, choose the type of glazing or covering system used on the greenhouse. If the greenhouse has more than one covering, choose the one which covers the largest area. Choose the framing system for the greenhouse and the overall construction quality. If your greenhouse has thermal energy curtains, choose whether there is a single or a double layer of curtains. Choose the type of curtains and enter the percentage of the roof area covered by the curtains. If you are planning to replace your greenhouse covering, or you are adding or replacing energy curtains, select the appropriate options and enter the details of the replacements. Now enter the average indoor temperature inside the greenhouse in degrees Celsius. If that temperature is different during any months of the year, enter the month-specific temperature in the appropriate box. If the heating system is turned off during any months of the year, enter a value of 1 for those months. Finally, enter the heating system details and the fuel source. If you are planning to replace the heating system, indicate this and enter details of the new system. If you need to double-check anything before completing your calculation, choose the Save button. This will save the information you've entered. Once you are ready, choose Calculate and Save at the bottom. If you have missed any mandatory fields, the calculator will tell you right away by highlighting the missing field in red. The calculation will only work once every mandatory field has been filled out. When you click Calculate, a progress indicator will start to spin. Be patient. GO-CALC takes up to 30 seconds to produce your results. The results will appear once the calculation is complete. You will also receive an email at the email address you registered with. This email will contain your calculation results as well as the information you entered into every one of the inputs, so you will have a record of your complete scenario. GO-CALC gives you 3 results. The first number is the existing energy usage of your facility in gigajoules of energy per square meter of floor area. The second number is the total estimated greenhouse gas emissions you will save every year by making the chosen upgrades to your facility. The third number is also the estimated emission savings, but this value is the savings per square meter of floor area. These numbers can help you decide whether the project you're planning is likely to save a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. Your results are displayed on this calculation page, and they are also saved in the My Scenarios page. Let's make another calculation. Click the New Scenario button. Fill in the energy use data as before and your location. This time, let's choose Building as the facility type. Enter the dimensions of your building just like in the greenhouse section. If you have a 2-story building, like some livestock barns, enter the floor area of the ground floor only, and enter the total height from ground to the edge of the roof. Now enter information about the walls in your facility and the insulation inside the walls. If you are planning to change or add insulation to the wall, first indicate if you will remove the existing insulation or if it will stay in place. Then enter the details of any new insulation. If your wall has a livestock curtain system, choose Yes and enter the height of this curtain. This is a vinyl curtain that can be raised or lowered to allow for natural ventilation in a barn. Next, answer the same type of questions for the roof of your building and enter any details of any planned insulation changes, just like with the walls. Now tell GO-CALC what type of livestock are in the building. If you do not have any livestock, choose None. You can choose up to 5 types of livestock. When you choose a type, enter the average number of animals in the barn at any one time. GO-CALC will estimate how much heat is produced by the livestock and how much ventilation your building will need. If you have entered livestock information, the calculator will estimate an appropriate temperature for that livestock. You do not need to enter any temperature here unless you have a specific temperature which you keep your building at. You can also enter an indoor humidity level. The default humidity is 70%. There are 2 questions here for advanced users. GO-CALC estimates barn temperature and humidity based on heating and ventilation. When the outdoor temperature or humidity is very high, the barn may not stay at the desired conditions, no matter how much ventilation is used. In this case, GO-CALC assumes it is acceptable to maintain the building a small amount above the actual outdoor temperature or humidity. The default temperature difference is 2 degrees Celsius, and the default humidity difference is 5%. If you are not sure what to do with these 2 inputs, Leave them blank and the default values will be used. Next, tell GO-CALC if you plan to install a ventilation heat exchanger, and enter the information for the proposed system. You also need to choose the type of control. There is a detailed explanation of control systems in the Help page. Finally, enter the heating system details for your building. If you have multiple heating systems, choose the one that heats the majority of your building. Enter details of any planned upgrades and choose the fuel source. Now you are ready to calculate the emissions savings. Once again, your results will be displayed once the calculation is complete. Let's do one more calculation, this time for a grain dryer. GO-CALC estimates the emission savings from installing a heat recirculation system onto a grain dryer. Fill in the energy use data and your location, but instead of dimensions, you need to input details of the crop being dried. Enter the total quantity of crops that are dried in 1 year, and the average moisture level of these crops both before and after the dryer. These values need to represent the average levels over the entire drying season. Next, choose the fuel source for the grain dryer, and choose the type of dryer. Only certain grain dryers are well suited to heat recirculation, such as continuous cross-flow dryers and mixed flow dryers. Batch-type dryers are not well suited to heat recirculation. If you have a batch-type dryer, you will not be able to complete this calculation. If you know the drying efficiency of your grain dryer, you may enter it here. Efficiency is the amount of energy used to evaporate a certain quantity of water. If you do not know the efficiency, leave this input blank and a default value will be used. Finally, indicate which months during the drying season your dryer operates. This will estimate the average outdoor temperature during your dryer operation. Once all inputs are filled out, click Calculate and your results will appear in a moment. Now that you have your calculation results, you can view them on your My Scenarios page. You can see all the calculations you have made, and you can choose to edit them or view them at any point. They are all saved here. If you started working on a scenario but did not complete it, these partially complete scenarios are also saved on this page. If you have questions while completing the calculator, choose the Help button from the top menu. A list of common questions and answers is provided to explain certain parts of GO-CALC. If you still have questions, choose the Contact page for information on how to contact us for assistance. If you would rather use the calculator in French, choose the Français button. Finally, once you're done using the calculator, choose the Log Out button. Your information will be saved and you can log back in at any point to view your scenarios, make a new one, or update one you have already been working on. This concludes the tutorial. This is James Dick from the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs saying thanks for watching. We hope you find GO-CALC useful. And please give us feedback. Contact us using the information on the Contact page and let us know how we can make it better. GO-CALC is for you, Ontario's agricultural producers, to help you understand energy use and emissions from your production facilities and to help you identify how to reduce your greenhouse gas emissions.